Hi, so now let's have a brief question time. In the following few slides, I'll show you some faces of prominent figures in the field of AI, and you have to identify them. You can put your answers in the chat box. So here we go with the first one. Can you recognize this person? It's okay. Don't get disheartened if you can't. Let's move on to the other photo. Can you identify them? You can put any of your guesses in the chat box. Uh, if there aren't any, we'll move on to the answers. All right, so I'll reveal the answer to you now. These people simply do not exist. They, uh, they have been created by a technology called GAN. So you can check out this website, thisxdoesnotexist.com, and there you will find a lot more faces which simply do not exist. So let's do one more. Yeah, let's look at this video. This is a technology called deepfake. I think a lot of you must have heard about this. So here you will see Tom Cruise as Iron Man.
Either forced to join their militia, desperately type yellow photographs, holding them up to anyone who will stop.
And for the first time since 1974, the best and brightest men and women of nations.
What they do.
What exactly is it that they do?
Kick names, take ass.
So I believe this must be a good example of what AI can do. Let's have one more question. So yeah, now I'll show you some text and you have to recognize which one of them is written by a human and which one is generated by AI. Okay, so I think a lot of you put your guesses in the chat box. So I'll reveal the answers to you now. So C was an expert from Old Men and the Sea by Hemingway, but A and B both were generated by a model called GPT-3. It's a model generated by OpenAI, which they describe as a third generation state-of-the-art language model. It uses deep learning to create human-like text. It is such a well-developed technology, like it has a capacity of like 175 billion machine learning parameters. So yeah.
Hi, I hope everybody can hear me. Yeah, so NLP is basically a branch of AI that deals with text. So the last example that you saw, where you saw generation examples of generation by GPT-3, that was an example of NLP. NLP is, I could say, arguably the most researched area of AI because, well, some of the things that you could do with NLP could literally transform the ways human lives and experience happens. So, could you go to the next slide? With the examples of, yeah. So I'm sure you know Jarvis from Iron Man. I'm sure you know Star Wars examples and R2D2 and C3PO and iRobot and all these little examples. And these are what actually NLP deals with. It deals with understanding of text. Now, the reason why Jarvis is so liked by everybody is because it could understand what Tony Stark says and does the commands as per his orders, So like he does everything for it. It does calculations and it does predictions and it gives recommendations based on those things and talks to like Tony like an actual human being, even though it's a robot. Um, so that's like really exciting, like having an assistant that's made for you. The other thing is that any human advancement that happens in the future, whenever we imagine a sort of post-apocalyptic AI world, like a AI dystopia, you always imagine robots taking over the world and like becoming better than humans and destroying them. But we never imagine how that could have happened. And the first step to actual AI dystopia is that humans actually make AI that can understand language, right? Because if they don't understand language, they will never be able to understand science textbooks. They will never be able to advance human technology on their own. And then they can't be smarter than humans if they can't advance, human technology. And NLP is the way to go about it. So it can radically change the way we live our world. It can radically speed up science, technology, everything. Next slide. So some of the way like normal daily uses of NLP are like in your keyboard. So everybody uses the keyboard, of course, Google keyboard. It has suggestions. Okay, that's a part of NLP. It can predict what you say based on how you type in general life. Google Translate is part of NLP. Then automatic captions are part of NLP. Amazon Alexa is part of NLP. It's a voice assistant. All assistants are part of NLP. Speech recognition and anything related to speech recognition is part of NLP. And even mail, like Gmail has automatic mail generation, line generation nowadays. So use it pretty much everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's very, very spread out, and you won't even realize you're using an NLP when you're using it. Google search is based on NLP. All search engines are based on NLP. So yeah, NLP is everywhere. It's probably the most researched area in AI. And yeah, this is like GPT-3. GPT-3 stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Transformer is the actual architecture, and it learned how to do like make William Shakespeare type poetry. And this is another example of what you can do with transformers. It's quite similar to William Shakespeare, and like you could barely tell the difference from the first bold lines and the unbolded lines. The unbolded lines are the generated by the transformer, and the bold ones are from the actual poetry of William Shakespeare. So, and this is an example of the combination of NLP as well as computer vision. Basically, you enter a text prompt and it gives you photos. Okay. And imagine what you can do with this. You can essentially write anything and it'll give you a photo of that imagery, like whatever you write. So it's pretty amazing that you can do this with AI now. You don't need, like, it can make art for you. It can, um, and even if you see my profile photo, I don't know if you can see it, but that's also an example of combination of AI art. So a lot of people work on neural style transfer and all. So yeah, this can be leading to an introduction to computer vision next. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Gaurav here. Hope I'm audible. So, I'm the computer vision head of IITG.ai. So, let me talk you through and demonstrate just how fascinating the field of CV is. So, what is computer vision? One may ask. So, computer vision is a field of uh, AI, more specifically deep learning, that focuses on replicating the complexity of human vision in computers. And thus, it enables them to identify and process objects and images and videos in the same way that we humans do. So, on the account of advances and the innovations in deep learning and neural network, the field has taken incredible number of leaps in the past recent years. And actually, the models and everything have actually had the option to they've actually started to outperform humans as well in tasks related to detecting and labeling objects. So let me just take you through some of the really cool applications of CV here. Next. So I'm sure most of you must have come across the concept of self-driving cars, where the car does all the driving for us, right? So how do they do this? Firstly, the vehicles have a bundle of sensors like cameras, radars, lidars, etc., all of which work together to collect the data from the surroundings, and then they perform some actions like road lane detection. Like over here, you can see that the lane is detected and it's colored in green. Uh, then you have obstacles, vehicles, and road signs detection, and you also have to like compute the steering angle. And fundamentally, all of this comes straight down to the use of computer vision models like CNNs, convolution neural networks, and various other algorithms which are built upon this, like object detection, object tracking, YOLO, image segmentation, and all of that. Moving on, next. So here you can see a really, really cool way in which computer vision has been put to use. In the set of images here, you can see that we've actually built a social distancing tool. It is using a couple of cameras, one for detecting people coming into the frame, and another one is tracking the distance between any two people in the frame. And as we can see, it's able to detect if people coming inside the area of detection are following the social distancing protocol or not between them. If they are, then the marker is green, and if they're not, uh, as soon as they're breaking the protocol, it's turning red. The marker is turning red. So interesting, isn't it? Like something so simple, but yet it's something which can be of tremendous use during the time which we are in, this pandemic. So again, what makes building something like this possible? It's computer vision. This is nothing but object detection, and it's something simple. Like we can do it. Like this is not something very complicated. Next. Now let's talk about one other cool technique. Bhavnik was also mentioning this. It's called neural style transfer. So what it does that it takes two images. One is the content image, and another one is a style image. Uh, it's the style image is usually a sort of an artwork from some painter, and what it does is it blends together the input image and it transforms the content image to look like it's painted in the form of the style image. So let's have a look at how this happens next. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Fascinating, right? I mean, neural uh, the turtle remains there and then it's painted in the style of the style image. So this technique, neural style transfer, it showcases the capabilities of neural networks and how we can smartly and creatively manipulate them and get something really cool like this. So yeah, so I guess I've given you guys a taste of what computer vision is. And next up, we have data science head, Manan Kakar. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Manan and I'm the data science head. So whatever you saw until now, you can think of this as subsets of machine learning. So machine learning is like the umbrella term. What machine learning is So it is an application of artificial intelligence that provides systems the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Now, what this means, so just to give you an idea of how whatever you saw until now works, I'll try to give you an analogy. Now, think of your machine learning program as your pet dog, whom you are making learn some task. Now, you start by giving your pet some instruction over and over, and when it does what you ask, you either reward it or punish it in some sort way. With enough experience of or training in this case, the dog learns to do the needful, and the same applies for your machine learning program. Um, so I think that gives you an idea how ML works. Next slide. Um, so you've already seen various use cases. Another one very popular use case of ML is recommendation systems. I'm pretty sure all of you would have come across this recommendations that you find on OTT platforms like Netflix or on e-commerce websites like Amazon and Flipkart, or even Spotify recommending you songs. Now, what it does is it takes into consideration your past. It tracks your history, and based on how you look at things, watch things, listen things, it recommends you something that goes along with your taste. Next slide. These are some popular uh, examples of where you use machine learning. So daily stock prediction, traffic prediction, Google Maps, using AI to give you with the best route and providing you with the predicted estimated time of your journey. And also, um, like basically you can predict anything using machine learning if you have the data. One very peculiar use case was Oscar prediction. So this year, actually, people they developed a model that uh, predicted the Oscar winners before the event actually taking place, which was kind of cool because it showed that machine can also learn the biases that we say exist. Yeah, that was it. Now, I usually take over.
Yeah, so last year this was one of the projects in which me and Manan and our team worked together. We created a classifier which could classify the type of cricket shots. Like we had 5 different shots, and what the model did was whenever we put in a clip of the batsman playing a particular shot, it would classify that shot into one of the 5 shots. And how it would do that is basically how we did this. I think it might get a little complicated, but I'll still state it out. Like we first used something known as we first segmented out the person, the batsman, and then we used uh, LSTM networks to basically train this. And at the end of it, we could input any video of a batsman playing a shot, and then that model could tell you that yeah, he played a cover shot or a defense or something like that. So yeah, that was this.
Yeah. So in the image captioning, basically, you can see the first image. The person is at the beach and there is a dog uh, beside him. So the image, we provide the image to the model, and the caption is generated by the model that a person is walking along a beach with a big dog. So yeah, it's pretty accurate. It is recognizing the beach, the person, the dog. Yeah, dog is not that big, but yeah, it is doing great job. In the second image also, the black it is recognizing the dog. It is black and white dog. and yeah, the ball is baseball, but yeah, it is recognizing ball is in its mouth. So yeah, the image class captioning part was we provide the image to the model and it generates the caption describing what is there in the image. You can see that some of the failure cases also, like the bottom image is like a lion with a mouth, a face of a rat, and in that case the caption is almost random, like uh, it is saying it a black dog because of that tail and dog like features, and then it is recognizing the nose as a red ball. So yeah, that's a funny caption. Also with that lungs images, you can see that the yellow ones are the true annotations, and the green are the generated by the model, and you can see it is pretty accurate. So for the in the bioinformatics task also, it is very useful for recognizing the diseases and all. So yeah, that was the project of image captioning. We can move ahead, I think. Yeah, along with the projects, there were various hackathons organized by the ITG.ai. Hackathons was mainly two types. One was intra club and other was open to all hackathons. For in the intra club hackathons, all the club members are divided into the groups, and groups participate as a team, and they solve various machine learning problems by creating the models. And after the end of the hackathon, we discuss each other's ideas and approaches, and the base teams also get some reward and all. For the open to all hackathons, they are like we can move to next slide, this colorization hackathon which was conducted. In that they have to colorize the grayscale image. For that, the participants have to collect the data set, process it, and create the model on their own. And yeah, we received some really good entries in that. So in that also we gave prizes to the winners. And yeah, that was about the hackathon part. We can yeah, also we conducted the machine learning research weekend. In that, the whole week was about dedicated to machine learning. We conducted hackathons, workshops, and at the weekend some researchers and Kaglers were invited to give talk and share their experiences and insights about their work, and how the field is growing. And yeah, that was very helpful in learning what the recent activities are being conducted in the machine learning. So yeah, that was. We can move ahead with Inter IIT. I think Gunjan can take.
Thanks, Ayush. So we had Inter-IIT Tech Meet this year, and there were two problem statements which were of high prep, means they give very a large amount of points to the college who wins that. So there were two statements. First one was Breast to Eyes automatic headline and sentiment generator. So what was that? Basically, you had to perform analysis of articles based on mobile technology and tweets, and then based on those tweets and articles, you had to summarize it, and you have to find out the different trends in that data set, and then you have to perform sentiment analysis to see which brands are getting more positive reviews and which brands are getting negative reviews. And this was a very open statement, and in which you had to basically understand the tweets and the sentiments of the user, and then give something back which can be useful to the mobile brands for their development. So this was the first statement in which this was the complex model that we used. So right now it might be too much for some of you, but don't worry, once you start understanding AI and NLP, this will get easy with each step. Okay, so this was the model. can move to the next one. Yeah. So this was the team which participated and won the gold medal in this competition. Most of the members were from our club. And this was the second task. This was more of a computer vision task. So in this task, what we had to do was, this looks straightforward at the beginning. Like you have a image which contains a traffic sign, and your algorithm should be able to detect which traffic sign it is correctly. But there was a big challenge in this competition to create your own data sets, to basically create an entire software which helps the user to create his own data sets with his own augmentations, like flipping an image, making more haze or more dust in the image, or more foggy conditions, depends on the use case. And then you can create your own data set, and you should be able to train your own model on that data set. So this looks very easy at first, but to create an entire pipeline with all those features is a tough task. And our team performed very well, and IIT Guwahati secured the second position, silver medal in this competition. This was the team that participated in the competition. Yeah, so Ayush bhai, you can take over now.
But like an interview, what will you ask in interviews after the competition?
Bhaiya, how to enroll in that competition? When it will be, Bhaiya, course?
Bhaiya, do you recommend starting the courses now, or would it be better if we just wait right now and just start with the IITG.ai course that you will be launching? Okay.
Is there a specific timeline for this course by IITG.ai?
So the course begins after your first year ends. So that would be in the summer of next year. So until then, if you're interested, then you can check out the courses on Coursera.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Python a prerequisite?
Yes.
Okay.
Approximately how many members will you be selecting?
That varies from year to year, so it depends on how many people came. But the interviews aren't like, you shouldn't worry too much about the interviews. The interviews are just a check of whether you know the basics or not.
What are the other requirements for joining? Like, what knowledge you must have to join at least?
All you need to know is what's in the ITG.ai summer course. If you do that well, you can, and if you learn that well, you can do well in the interviews, and we'll recruit you then. That's all it's required.
We
What are the
receive.
prerequisites?
There's no official prerequisites for this. We'll teach you almost from scratch, but it's always better if you learn Python and do the courses that we recommended, because it's quite based on that. Like, you learn a lot more if you already know something.
Python till what matlab? How much?
Basics. Like, you know how to
Basics.
do, yeah, like you know how to code in Python, then it's good enough. Even though we'll like give you links for everything, and we'll give you videos for Python in the summer course itself, but it's better.
There was a mail about the Inter IIT Tech Meet this time. So, and there was it was written that the problem statement will be launched and team selection will be there. So, do we have any chance of being selected in the team, or it's for the second year, right, or third?
See, we prefer more knowledgeable members, but of course, the final selection for the team is based on interviews. So,
So,
if you
like,
can convince somebody that you are knowledgeable enough about the topic at hand, then of course you can enter.
okay.
I want to confirm that recruitment is done only once, like after the first year, or can we apply again if we are not selected?
So recruitment is done for you in second year, but even if you are in third year, you can give the interviews and like the hackathon tests and enter in third year as well. Though of course, we recommend entering in the second year, because then your peers will have like a huge gap because they did like AI for one more year than you. So.
All right, thanks.
Can you tell the name of the page? I just now joined the meet.